Children, today we'll start a new chapter, and the name of the chapter is User Defined Method. So first of all, let me tell you, method are also known as function. Okay, they are very fitted for programmer, basically for programmer. Reason, if the program is too big, we can divide the program into different parts. How? Like every program contains three different parts, minimum three different parts, that is input, process and output. We can separate the program, we can separate the piece of code. We can like input part will be separated, process part will be separated, output part will be separated. Now how we separate? When we separate, we have to give some name. So that name is actually a function or method. So it simplifies the program. It makes program easy to understand. And even if suppose some correction is there, you can easily identify that input part mistake is there, or process part mistake is there, or maybe output part mistake is there. So accordingly you can rectify, you can correct it. So children, functions has lots of like benefit part in programming sections. Now these functions or this method are of two different types. One is user defined, another is inbuilt, means predefined. User defined means we create based on our requirement. We can create by any names. Like see here one example I have given, add user defined function names. Okay, how we come to know that this is function? Because you can see after the word add there is an opening and closing bracket. So whenever any word contains opening and closing bracket, such word becomes functions. In the same way, children, predefined or inbuilt function we have, that is a main function. Main is the default function. That's why almost every program we write main functions. Public, static, void, main. Okay, so without main function, without the function, compiler will be unable to know that after this only body part of the program begins. So children, we'll learn some more terms related to function. So now let us discuss some more terms related to functions. So children, you can see I have written here function, prototype and function signature. So first of all, what is function prototype and what is function signatures? So function prototype and function signature, it is similar like our name and our signatures. In name what we do? We write the full name, title, everything we write. But in case of signature what we do? We simply write the initial of name and maybe the signature or maybe the initial part in the short forms. That is signatures. Here in case of function prototype and function signature also, the concept is almost same. The concept is what? Function prototype, okay, is the first line of function definitions. Function prototype is the first line of function definitions. It tells the compiler or it gives the informations about the number and type of parameter. About the number and type of parameter the method will take. That means function prototype, number and type of parameter. Number and type of parameter the function will accept or it will take. Secondly, type of data and the method will return. Type of data and method will return. So this information, these two informations, from where we get from the function prototype. Function prototype is a first line of function definition. First line. Now what is first line? Say usually we write like this: public, static, void, main, int x, int y. So this children, this is known as function prototype. Why this is known as function prototype, children? Because you can see here this public and static, this part is actually common. Okay, this you can say it's optional also. If you want, you need to write, otherwise you can simply leave it also, no problems. The main part begins from here. So void. It gives us the information about return type. Main is the name of function, and here x and y are number of parameter, and in case of type of parameter, you can say the type of parameter is int. So see children, every information we get, function prototype is the first line of function definition which provide us the full informations, which provide us the function name, type and number of parameters, and what is the return value and what type of return value will be there. Like suppose if I write here in place of void int, then return type is integer. In void, return type is nothing, not even null also, because void doesn't have any return type. So this total information we get from the function prototype. Children, once again just see, function prototype means the first line of function definition which gives you the information about number and type of parameter. Secondly, type of data, and method will return. What method will return? Whether it will return or not. This information also we get from function prototype. Okay, so this line is known as function prototype. Okay, function prototype or method prototype. So second part, children, will come for function signatures. Now what is function signature? Let us see this also, function signatures. The list of parameter along with their data types are called method signature. The list of parameter along with their data type. That means children, this part we can write list of parameter, list of parameter along with their data type. So function signature is what, children? The list of parameter along with their data type. So if we consider this, the function signature will be in this case only. If you consider this example, okay, this example, function prototype. So from here only we get the function signature. So function signature will be simply int x, int y. Okay, we can give the name also, no problems. Main functions. So children, this part becomes the function signature. Main is like optionals, name is optionals. Okay, name we get only, but basically it focuses on the list of parameter along with their data types. That means this part. Function focus on this part only, that is int x, int y, what is there inside the bracket. Okay, but function name is totally optional. You can give or you don't give, up to you. So children, from here what is clear, that function prototype is like our full name, okay, entire part, full information we get, whereas function signature is just the initial part. It basically deals with the type of parameter and data types. So is this clear, children? Now see, we'll move to next. Now see the next topic, that is invoking a function. Invoking. So children, invoking means calling. So as I have already told you that functions divide the programs like input, process and output. Now when we do output or when we do process, we need input part also. Like when you are doing processing work, you need input, then only you can do process. When you are doing an output, you need a process part, then only you can display. So means we need to call the function. We need to call the function in another function so that we can utilize that. We can work on that. So when we call the function, that is known as invoking a function. And there are two different ways of invoking a functions. You can see here, first one is call by value and the second one is call by reference. Now the question arises, what is this? What is call by value and what is call by reference? So in general terms, if you remember, value means directly with numbers and reference means through someone, channelizing. Here also the concept is almost same. Okay, we can call the function directly also with the values. Take this value color. Like suppose if I ask whose marker is this? Now whoever marker is this, they will raise the hand. So that is one like we can say media to call. So here also call by value means give the number, but proper data type should be there. The particular function will come. It will involve first method. Second one is call by reference. Now in reference, what we have to do? We have to call through object from channelizing. Okay, we have to call through object. Directly we cannot call. So these are the two different techniques. Now let us read this in some more depth. Let us see. When a method is called by its parameter as value, that means when a method is called by parameter as value, when a method is called by its parameter. Parameter means, you know children, last time I have shown inside the bracket of the functions, that is known as parameter. When the method is called by its parameter as value, that is known as call by value. Okay, so in call by value, what happens children? Directly we can call with the help of value, but we have to use parameter. Secondly children, we have call by reference. So as you people know, all the data is stored in the memory. Everything is stored in the memory. Somewhere in the memory it is stored, which is divided into cell. Memories are divided into small cell where actual data are stored. Each cell has a unique address. Each cell has a unique address or index, you can say. That is known as reference actually. Okay, so when we call like any function with the help of reference, okay, with the help of reference means with the help of address. So here you can say address, object. So these two terms are used. So when we call any function with the help of its address, now address means the memory locations. Okay, address means memory locations. So when we call any function with the help of its address or memory locations, that is termed as call by reference. Another, in the same way, whenever we call any function or method with the help of object, that is also known as call by reference. So children, this call by reference means we learned about calling, but sometimes we need to pass also. We need to pass the value. So this call by value is also known as pass by value, and this call by reference is also known as pass by reference. Definition is same. Only the difference is in case of calling, we are calling the function and we are utilizing, and in case of passing, we are passing the values. We are passing the functions. One is function comes and this function goes. Okay, but both definitions and technical terms are almost same. So we can say call by value is equal to pass by value, and call by reference is equal to pass by reference. We can say this one. Is this clear, children? So now let us see the another topic. Now see children, the next topic we will be discussing today is categories of functions. In short, you can say type of function also, no problems, almost same. Okay, but this is not that type which I wrote that time, that is user defined or inbuilt. Okay, they were actually like how we write the functions, but actual type is this one, or you can say categories of functions. Two categories are here. One, you can see point number one I have written as pure functions, pure method. Another I have written impure. Pure and impure, these are the two different type of functions. They are categorized in two different types, pure functions and impure functions. Now let us see which functions are known as pure functions, which functions are known as impure functions. So children, we can classify method into two categories on the basis of whether they change the value of data members. So this categorization is how? Based on whether they change the value of data members. Okay, So the categorization, this category is made on the basis of whether they changes the value of data members or not. Now children, we'll come to the pure method. Pure method is also known as accessor method. This is known as accessor method also, and this is known as mutator. Okay, impure is known as mutator. So children, a function is called pure if it returns the same value for the arguments. Okay, that means the value of the instance variable could be modified, could not be modified. Okay, like there is no side effect. That means in case of pure value, whatever we return, it doesn't change the state of an object. You can write in short, it does not change the state of an object. Now just opposite here, it changes the state of an object. So children, we can say like pure functions are those functions when we call the functions through reference or through value, that time it will not change the state of an object. The state means the behavior, the characteristic, the value you passed. Suppose you are passing int, it won't be converted to float, not possible. If you are sending 2 argument value, it will not convert it to 3 or something like that, not possible. It does not change the state of an object. Whereas students here, in case of impure function, it changes the state of an object. Now what is the state? State means again a behavior or characteristics. It can be changed. Okay, like it changes the state of an object. So when we call the functions, that time whatever we pass, that particular thing will be changed. Okay, that like suppose the argument we are sending 2, but automatically it comes it converts into 3 or something like that. That means it is changing the state of an object. So in short, what we can say is pure function does not change the state of an object, whereas impure function changes the state of an object. So based on the whether they change the value of data member. Now here object means not only object, okay, it can be data members also. So whether they change the value of data members, based on this there are 2 categorization of functions, that is pure functions and impure functions. So is this clear children? Now let us see some more topics from this chapter. So children, our next topic is types of parameter. So first of all, what is parameter? Just now we have learned in functions that opening and closing bracket, if you pass the argument, that is a parameter. Now this parameter is also of different types. So we have categorized into different types, that is actual parameter and formal parameter. Now the question arises, what is actual and what is formal? This is very simple. Actual means the main one. That's why we can say function calling. So when we are calling the function, we pass the value, that is the actual value what we ask from the user. Okay, so at the time of function calling, we pass the value, and that value are the actual value which we ask from the user, on which we are going to operate. This is actual parameter. Whereas formal means function definitions. That means from while we call the function, we pass the actual value to the formal parameters. That means formal are the copied values. These are the actual values. These are copied values. Okay. So some more differences can come. Like any changes if you make here in a formal parameter, any changes will not affect the actual values or actual parameters. Any changes made in formal parameter will not affect the actual parameter. Whereas, just opposite, okay, if any changes if you are making in actual parameter will affect the formal parameter. Very simple, children. Actual parameter, if you are making a change, that change will be affected to formal parameters, whereas in case of formal parameter, if you make any changes, that change will not be affected in the actual parameters. So this is the concept, children. So children, today what we have learned is function, user function, okay, type of functions like for asking the values, then categories of functions, okay, then the type of parameters, then the way of invoking of functions, how we call the functions. And one more thing, children, function prototype and function signatures. Prototype full name, signature is the initial names. So here the question is, design a program in Java to calculate the tax for the people living in Mango City. Specify a class taxpayer whose class description is given below. Class name is given as tax calculator, same name we have to use. Data member is like int pan, string name, double taxable income, double tax. These are the data members, okay. Member methods are input data, display data and compute data. For calculation there are certain table like taxable income is up to 60,000, then the tax rate is 0, above 60,000 up to 1,50,000 it's 5%, above 1,50,000 to 5 lakh it's 10%, and above 5 lakh it is 15%. So children, let me tell you, these are the functions which will be dividing the program into three different parts. Input part, displays the output, and compute is the process part, okay. And class name is given in this question. Data members are also known as instance variable, okay. So let's see the solution. You have to use the package. These two packages is important, like import java.io.asterisk semicolon, again import java.lang.asterisk semicolon, okay. And you can see class name is written as tax calculator. We are not allowed to write here like P1, P2 and something else. Your marks will be deducted if you do that. So as per as the question, as per as the given like the class name in the question, you have to write here same. Even the like later case should be similar. Now see children, instance variable or data members are given like int pan, string name, double taxable income and tax. So this from this part, from this data members, tax we are going to calculate, but we need pan, name and taxable income from user. So we have to ask from them. So children, we have two ways. Either you can use a different variable in a parameter. This is known as parameter, formal parameter, okay. Or else you can use the same variable name. If you are using the same variable name, you have to use this keyword. The definition of this keyword here is, it is used to store the address of currently calling object. It is used to store the address of currently calling object. And one more thing, actually it differentiates between the instance variable and the parameterized variable. Actually this part is known as instance variable, okay, and this is known as parameterized variable. So we can have this dot pan is equal to pan, this dot name is equal to name, this dot taxable income is equal to taxable income. Close it. Input part is over. We didn't ask anything from the user. It is just a formal parameter. Actual value will be asking in the main functions. Then another we have void compute data. So as per as the rule, you have seen the table, so you come to know that we have to use if else conditions are there, like if taxable income is less equal to 60,000, tax is 0, no tax. And above 60,000 and up to 1,50,000, it's 5%. So 5% means we can write 5 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.05. So multiply by taxable income. Again in the same way, another part we have like 1,50,000 to 5 lakh. The taxable income is 10%. Okay. So in the same way we have calculated here, tax is equal to taxable income into 0.1. Okay. And the last was like else part above 5 lakhs. The taxable like tax was 20%. So we wrote here taxable income into 0.2%. Simply calculated. Okay. Here in the first part, like void input, we simply accept the values but formal parameters. The actual value will be taking in the main functions, and in the compute data simply we update the process work. Now let us move to the next part, like void display data. Here we need to like display like output part. We'll print here like name we are printing. Display data, just a message I am displaying here inside double inverted comma. Okay, the same thing will be displayed. Now name has been displayed, taxable income, and even tax is displaying. So our like input, process, and output work is over. But these three things we need to combine together. Okay, like until unless you won't write the main function in a program, compiler will be like totally confused that which part or which functions would be executed first. So we need to mention the main functions, and in main function you can see I've written int p, string and double t. These are the actual parameter which user will input. And the again important part, like I wrote here, tax calculator ob is equal to new tax calculator. Here now ob is the object. This is the syntax for creating the object. ob is the object. Now with the help of this object we are calling the function. Input function is called first. So input function has a formal parameter. We need to pass the actual value. So children, this you can say it is a call by value technique we have used. Okay, so p and t is P for PAN, N for name, and T for taxable income. We are passing into input functions. Then we are calling to the compute data, and finally we are displaying, that is display data. So children, function programs are not so tough. The concept we use in function programs are from the looping or decision making. Only the difference is that in function program, instead of doing all the calculation in single main functions, we divide the programs. Okay, we divide the programs into sub programs which are known as methods or functions. So this is all about the you can say this is the programs, and based on this program I have given you some homework also which you have to do. You have to try by yourself. See the question. Children, define a class called parking lot. Your class name is given as parking lot with the following descriptions. Data members are also known as instance variables. You have int VNO, that's a vehicle number. Int hours, to store the numbers of hours the vehicle is parked in the parking lot, and double bill to store the bill of bill amount. Method is input, to input and store the vehicle number and hours. The same technique, and you can use this keyword over here. Then void calculate, to compute the parking charge. You can calculate the parking charge. Rate is given at the rate of ₹3 for the first hours. If 1 hours or part like 30 minutes or 1 hour or maybe less than that, then you have to pay ₹3, rate of ₹3 for the first hours, and ₹1.50 for each additional hours or part. Like 1 hour 30 minutes, then you have to pay how much? 3 plus 1, ₹4.50. For the children's, like if you are doing the parking for 5 minutes, say 5 hours, then how much you have to pay? 1.50 plus 1.50 becomes 3 plus 3. That means ₹6 you have to pay. Clear, children? What display, to display the details? You have to display the details accordingly. Same. And the rest part is again same. Main function you have to write, create the object, call the above methods. So you need to try this program by yourself. Okay, children. One more is there. Let us see that one also. Define a class called library. The class name is again library here. Instance variable or data members are given. Int ACC number, that is accession number of the book. String title stores the title of the book. String author stores the name of the author. And member function is like void input, again to accept and store accession number, title and author. We need to ask from the user. Compute, to accept the number of days late. Now see children, here a little bit twist is there in the question. In compute also you have to take one variable, okay, because that variable will be for late, number of days late. So based on that number of days late only, fine will be charged, fine fixed, 2 per days, 2 into that number of days late, okay. Then you have to display finally accession number, title and author, and write the main function, create the object and call the work member functions. Here little bit change is there in this question, children. In input part you have the formal parameter, but compute part also you have to take one formal parameter, that will be number of days late. Clear, children? So a little bit, if you use the brain, if you read the question once again properly, you can easily do this program also. So this is one type of program. As I have already told you, function have two different type of programs. One is the normal function, like where the questions are divided into various method or functions. Another is function overloading, that is polymorphism. Okay, there also division is there, but like you'll get function name same. Here we are getting different function names. So function, two programs are there. Okay, two different types of programs are there. So this is one type of program which one solution is already done there. Go through that, understand it, and try to do this homework by yourself. Dear children,